Hi there. I have another thought for the day. And again, this comes from Kundalini, empowering human evolution. And these words come from the writings of Gopi Krishna, edited by Gene Kieffer. And I'm reading from page 219. And Gopi starts by saying, I never understood it at the time, but the actual position was that my very first experience of the awakening of Kundalini was the outcome of a widening of the cognitive center in the brain. When I returned back to my normal state of consciousness after the expansion, which I witnessed during the period of my ecstasy, I was still not the same inner being as before. The area of my awareness had widened, and this expansion had become a permanent feature of my personality. During the whole period of my first memorable experience, the expansion witnessed was no doubt oceanic. Yeah, and it is. It's like cosmic. And I had felt myself spreading in all directions until my consciousness exceeded the limits of the cosmic image present in my mind. When the enormous proportions I had gained in my inner being began to shrink and I came slowly back to myself, I was not the same individual I had been before. But a little of that expansion remained and continued to be there day and night, a fact I could not understand at the time. This part of my experience is of considerable importance. The ultimate aim of meditation is to rouse to activity a dormant area in the brain. It is not the pineal gland, nor the pituitary. The awakening of Kundalini does not refer to a mere glandular change or shift in the hormonal activity of the body. It clearly involves the operation of a new power in the body and the activation of a hitherto silent area in the brain, which I will call Brahma Rendra, or the cavity of Brahma, the cavity of God. It is the target for which yoga is practiced and is the real goal of all spiritual disciplines. With the activation of Brahma Rendra, the whole cerebral cortex becomes involved in the transformative processes that occur. Nature has planted a mini brain in the human encephalon to lead a mortal toward the solution of the mystery that surrounds him. This mini brain is the Sahasrara, or the thousand-petaled lotus, and it provides the only channel to the knowledge of the self. The thousands of books on yoga, both ancient and modern, are often silent about the real secret that lies at the bottom of this discipline. Prolonged concentration, repeated day after day on a divine or sublime or noble object, activates an organic mechanism in the brain, as I have mentioned. But the story does not end here. The activation of Brahmarendra can create 1,000 problems, and they must be tackled. Oh my, you cannot imagine. Once activated, the highly delicate and complex neuronic structure of Brahmarendra needs a superior fuel for its activity. The normal psychic fuel that burns in the other parts of the brain prove ineffective there. The mini brain, to be operative, must be fed by a more potent essence extracted and conserved by the nerves. I suffered from loss of sleep and appetite and fell prey to depression, inquietude, meaning disquiet, beating unsettled, anxious, and fear. And I lost the power of concentration and the feeling of love for my near and dear ones because Brahmarendra had been activated but lacked the fuel to operate in the right way. My area of awareness had expanded, but the energy that could maintain this expanded state of awareness at an efficient level was not there. For this reason, I was not myself for months and even years. Not only had Kundalini operated through the Pingala or solar nerve until the balance was restored sometime later, but also my body could not supply sufficient amount of the superior psychic fuel to the activized normal paranormal center in the brain. The activation of this center, the Brahmarendra, and the reverse activity of the reproductive system leading to the upward flow of the organic essences provided the basis for all spiritual and paranormal phenomena witnessed in history. The experience of oceanic consciousness on the first occasion, marking the arousal, consumed the entire store of the pranic content of the reproductive system. This store had to be replenished before another similar experience could occur. The second experience was far less impressive in comparison, but after that, I could hardly concentrate in the same effective way. Mental and bodily disturbances that followed made it hard for me even to present a normal appearance. Doubts and fears gnawed at my heart. Internally, I became a pitiable wreck, although outwardly I tried my utmost to present a sane appearance. I do not know what power sustained me in this ordeal. The mini brain now controlling my entire personality was starved of its proper nutriment, with the result that the subject of the transformation, namely myself, appeared to be a stranger in his own house. I lacked control of my responses, feelings, and emotions. What had happened to me all of a sudden, I could never realize during those days. I could not sleep because my body lacked the energy to produce a pure stream of pranic radiation needed to feed the activized Brahma Rendra. The yogis who set out to arouse Kundalini do not often succeed in raising the power to Sahasrara, or the last center in the brain, on that first setting. It often takes them years to do so. The energy rises chakra by chakra until it reaches the Ajna chakra in the middle of the eyebrows, and this marks its first entry into the brain. Prior to that, it pierces the 5 lower chakras, in this way gaining entry to various vital organs, the kidneys, the digestive organs, the heart, the throat, and the lungs, to improve their working to the point of efficiency where the body is able to maintain a regular flow of that superior energy to feed the brain. The rigid disciplines of Hatha Yoga aimed at cleaning the stomach and the intestines to keep blood in a state of purity. They're all designed to this end. It's not possible for a normal body to produce the subtle organic essence that forms the still unidentified part of the human seed in such abundant measure that it can supply the needs of the awakened Brahmarendra. A new metabolic process is set up in the brain to achieve this purpose. What is known as the piercing of the chakras among Hatha Yoga yogis refers to the upward flow of the reproductive organic essence from one center to the other. The orgasmic sensation which I've described attends the passage of the essence all through the spinal cord, increasing in volume as it rises higher and higher. reaching its maximum intensity in the brain. After the awakening, Kundalini is led step by step toward the Sahasrara. Out of hundreds who succeed in arousing the power and forcing the organic essence to rise up the spine, perhaps not even one is able, with sustained efforts, to carry it to the Brahmarendra. This is the reason why the number of those who have achieved the genuine mystical experience has been so small. In initial stages, it's hard to hold Kundalini at a chakra for more than a few minutes at a time. After that, it slides back to its dormant position at the base of the spine. When the light in the head, the sounds in the ears, and the exquisite sensation that attends its ascent also come to a stop. But once the rapture is experienced, the seeker tries his utmost to experience it again and again in the same way as a youngster initiated into the secrets of love is often tempted to repeat the experience as often as possible. The difference in the two lies in this, that the former does not experience the exhaustion or the weakness that affects the latter after every indulgence. The attraction of love in one case and the lure of the supernatural or the divine provide the incentives for the experience. The organic reproductive essence, which is distinctly felt when it enters a particular chakra, moves rapidly in a sort of circular motion which spreads out to cover the region. Observed inwardly, the chakra appears like a luminous circle in rapid motion, lit up by a radiant current never witnessed in the body before. This phenomenon occurs time after time until the last of the 5 chakras is penetrated. The whole region, from the throat to the base of the spine, now becomes the theater of operation of a radiant form of psychic energy that darts here and there along the nerves like a streak of lightning in a manner extremely bewildering and mystifying to the observer. But there is absolutely no doubt that the movement of that current is governed by a super intelligence. It's an intelligent process. Trust it. That superintelligence regulates its activity according to the moment to moment varying needs of the organism. The amazing spectacle presented by the shining current as it moves through the nerves with lightning speed from one organ or from one part to another is so awe-inspiring that the observer, hushed into silence, for the first time gains awareness of the marvelous, super intelligent power of nature that maintains his body and fuels his brain to the last day he is alive on earth. With repeated practices carried on for years, the nervous system of the individual in whom the power is active becomes more and more accustomed to the new role it has to perform. The activity of the nerves in extracting the subtle essence from the surrounding tissues and blood becomes more and more intensified. In such cases, even when Kundalini rises high enough to irradiate the Brahmarendra, the duration of her stay in the Sahasrara does not exceed a few minutes at a time. After that, with the failure of the nervous system to supply more of the organic element, the sensations and the other symptoms, that is, the lights and the sounds, fade away or subside. This is euphemistically called by the ancient writers as the return of the goddess Kundalini to her abode at the base of the spine. With prolonged practice, the duration of the experience is extended. But this extension in the duration of the rapture beyond a certain prescribed limit, consonant with the resources of the body, is extremely hard to achieve. The ideal of the practice is to retain Kundalini in the Sahasrara, or in other words, to maintain the flow of the organic essence into the brain on a permanent basis. This is known as the Jivan Mukta or Sahaja Yogi or Sahaja state. Cosmic consciousness becomes a perennial possession of a yogi who is able to achieve this feat. But the cases of this category are extremely rare. Kundalini is perennially active only in the case of outstanding mystics born with a gift whose extraordinary achievements in the spiritual or religious field are a matter of history. So as you go through your day, be aware that you are built to transform and that a new kind of consciousness is yours if you want to reach for it, if you want to work for it. And make a great day.